Historical Society on BCTV is supported in part by the Highlands at Wyomissing.
Hello and welcome to the monthly program of the Historical Society of Berks County. I'm your host, George M. Miser IX, President of the Historical Society of Berks County and publisher of the Historical Review of Berks County, the Society's quarterly magazine in print since October of 1935. Not incidentally, most back issues of the review are still available, from the late 1930s to the present time. It should be noted that this program is on live on the first Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock. It repeats this Friday at 10, Saturday at 6, and Sunday morning at 9 a.m. By the way, it's also on the internet live 7/24. Just check Historical Society of Berks County and get into our website and look for the TV program and the multimedia section. Anyhow, welcome all to the November 2009 program of the Historical Society of Berks County. Seated beside me is Joshua Blay, Society Museum Curator and Associate Director.
Hello, George.
Beside Joshua is Simon Bertollet, Executive Director of the Historical Society.
Good evening, George.
Good evening. And beside Mr. Bertollet is Vicki Hefner, the Society's Education Curator.
Hello.
Our museum, Henry Jensen Library and Museum Store are open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. A couple program notes. With winter weather fast approaching, it's time to remind you of our closure procedures. At the Reading schools are closed, so are we. When in doubt, please call us. If we don't answer, we're probably not open. Also, program note for November, we will be closed Wednesday the 25th and Thursday the 26th in observation of Thanksgiving. Our newly renovated museum store has a large inventory on Reading Berks County's histories, both new and pre-owned. In anticipation of new store stock, we have some great sales going on just in time for your holiday shopping on books, toys, and what have you. So whether you're a regular customer or haven't stopped by in a while, please come stop and see us. We have a wide variety of locally produced pottery, artwork, tollware, and other craft items.
We remind viewers that for $40 a year, you can be one of us, a member of the Historical Society of Berks County. Membership in the Society includes our prize-winning quarterly magazine, the Historical Review of Berks County. Membership includes unlimited use of the museum and library. Incidentally, family memberships, all living in the same house, are only $50 a year.
And while we're on the subject of memberships, we remind you at home that Berks Community TV, BCTV, is a survivor and a tough venue and unique entity in that it's interactive. You are encouraged to call in with your questions and comments to 378-0426.
Why not salute BCTV for all the great shows it provides to Reading and Berks and send a check for $30 for a year's membership. Mail your check to BCTV, 645 Penn Street, Reading, Pennsylvania, 19601. Remember, time passes, but operating expenses never go away. Vicki, you're on.
On Saturday, November the 14th, the Historical Society of Berks County will be having its 12th annual Great Grandparents' Day. This year we're focusing on the 1940s time period in connection with our current exhibit, Berks County on the Home Front. We were very excited to have the exhibit extended, and so we changed the time period. Typically we focused on the early 1900s. This year we wanted to concentrate on the 1940s. Some of the activities that we'll be doing that day will be a found object mobile. We'll be playing Ludo with the children. We're also Ludo is very similar to Parcheesi. It's kind of a simpler version of Parcheesi.
Okay. You ever played Parcheesi?
No.
That's a very old game.
It's a really very Indian game, I believe.
It's one of the few board games I remembered playing with my grandparents.
Sure.
So I was very happy to do Ludo this year with the kids. We're also going to be making paper snowflakes, a spool tractor toy, sponge painted picture frames. We're going to be learning about secret codes, paper airplanes, Josh is going to be doing a jet-powered flight test activity with the kids.
How'd he get that?
I needed him to be able to chase the balloons. We're using balloons. That's what Josh
That's the best
is doing
one on the whole thing.
We're also doing a fishing hole where the kids can go fishing for school supplies and gardening. We wanted to include the new Henry Janssen Library and Archives this year, so Kim Richards will be doing an activity over there, so hopefully people will walk across the street and see our new facility. She'll be teaching them about photography and different types of photography.
And just in case you're wondering what the images are on the screen, we have some period people that are going to be joining us with some vehicles. These are actually the same folks who were able to join us for our war exhibit opening in March. I'm not quite sure if everybody the same is going to be there, but it sort of gives you an idea of what the day is going to be.
We have about 15 reenactors, living historians from the 83rd Thunderbolt who will be joining us for Great Grandparents' Day, so we were excited about that. Some of the activities that we'll be doing, I brought with me a periscope that the kids will be making, and it actually does work. I'm looking at your shoes right now, Sign.
Oh.
They look pretty nifty.
Oh, I thought you would have to look through it there and it came out.
No, it looks.
So it's either way. You can do it from a top and above.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
During World War II, of course, children became very fascinated with submarines. And we have a wonderful group of volunteers. Floyd Turner and his family, Jane and Kate, will be doing this activity. And he, of course, served on a submarine. So he's pretty excited about that. We'll also be decoupaging bookmarkers. We're making holiday banners with the kids. I think in the economic climate that we have right now, this year's program is especially important because it's kind of teaching us how to go back to the basics and kind of dig through your closet and find what you have. And we'll also be learning about clouds. This is a cloud chart that the kids will be working on. During World War II, they were trying to teach civilians how to identify clouds in an attempt to be able to identify the altitude that planes were flying at. And so they were teaching civilians how to identify different types of clouds. And so we're going to help the kids do a few different types of clouds that day.
What is the black on the...
That's a thunder cloud. So the rain is coming.
Got it.
That's going to be the fun part, putting the paint on there.
Particulate matter in the cloud.
And then, of course, they'll be able to go over to the exhibit where Paul Troutman, the guest curator, is, and there's a plane spotting activity in there. Josh knows it well. And so once the kids do the cloud activity, then they can go over to the exhibit and learn about plane spotting over there in the exhibit. And I think that's it.
Well, one of the things that we really need to remember, this is the 12th year for my great-grandparents' house. And this would not have been possible were it not for the generosity of the Geraldine Foundation. They've been with us through on this project through its duration. And this is one of those great examples of where the youth education programs of the Historical Society go out and help fulfill the mission of the Berks County Historical Society of Berks County. And again, we wouldn't be able to do this were it not for the generosity of the Geraldine Foundation. We thank them very much for that.
Because of the Geraldine Foundation, we are able to do this program for free. It's been free since day one for 12 years, and it's a wonderful day for the kids. And if I could just also add, on December the 5th, we will be doing a holiday program for children again at the Hendel House. It's at 2 p.m. and it is Brian Bilge. He will be performing Santa's Biggest Elf Show, and it should last about a half an hour. It's an interactive program that he'll be doing, and then we will have a visit from a very special guest dressed in red. Our biggest fan here will be portraying Santa Claus for us that day, so it'll be wonderful. I'm talking about Joshua Black. See, he's getting red.
And that's a free event as well.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and like I said, the Great Grandparents' House, Saturday, November 14th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., right? And
yes.
that's a free event as well. So.
And
please
then
stop by.
2 p.m. on December the 5th at the Hendel House.
Okay, and the great-grandparents, that's what, ages 3 to 12?
2 through 12, yes.
2 through 12, okay. Great. Okay, that said, if it's Thanksgiving, it's time for the passing scene, and we anxiously are awaiting Volume 17. George and Gloria are back with it this year, and it's better than ever. I haven't seen a lot of it, but George tells me that it's really a wonderful book, and it's going to be available, okay, for distribution on Saturday, December 5th. And that's also the day when we're going to have George is going to be hosting the first Saturday program. And that's going to take place at 10 a.m. And so you'll have a lecture by George on the passing scene, the material in the passing scene. And following that, after 11 o'clock, we're going to set up for the annual book signing, and that annual book signing will take place from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So we're all looking for that. And this is, like I said, a great gift for the holidays. Let me tell you some of the things that are in the passing scene in this volume. On top of the features that you've already seen, there are going to be things on Carsonia Park, as well as the building and the operation of the Never Sink Mountain Railroad. You're going to have the history on the Robizonia furnace, as well as a wonderfully, lavishly illustrated story on the Berks County artist Ben Austrian, whose Perkiomen Avenue log cabin with the chink painting was well known not only locally, but also nationally. So that's going to be real exciting. You're also going to have picture shots of Reading's master accordionist, Anthony Mond, also Roy Schmeck, the internationally celebrated Wizard of the Strings. Mr. Schmeck appeared in many films and over 400 recordings, so he really has a track record. On top of that, you're going to have the view of the mysterious 1,600-foot tunnel that few people in Berks County or Reading have ever seen, as well as restored photos of Penn Street and the stores which many viewers in our audience will remember. And finally, you're going to have pictures representing numerous towns in virtually every township in the county. So it's really going to be it's a great book. It's a great time of the year. The autograph signing parties are, again, they're going to be Saturday, the 5th of December from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. We'll be back on Sunday, the 6th, again, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then we'll be back on Saturday, 5th to the 12th. And we'll be back then. We're going to be, the autograph party will take place from 9 a.m. to noon. We'll break an hour for lunch, and then George and Gloria will be back signing the books from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So we really look forward to that. It's a great time of year.
Thank you, Simon.
You bet.
A few copies of Volume 15 and 16 remain for sale, and they too are $45, tax included. We remind you that once these are sold, there will be no reprints. And in full realization of the present economic situation, we have kept the selling price for the upcoming Volume 17 at $45, tax included. And while we're on the subject of the forthcoming passing scene, Volume 17, I have a few more photographs for you. We're going to divide it into two parts to give you an idea of what's in the book. Now, I should warn you ahead of time that these were copied from proofs that are in this notebook, this very thick notebook, so that the pictures themselves, when you see them in the book, will be of stupendous quality. These are marginally okay, but I just want to give you a general idea and show you some of the idea of the insets. Whenever possible and whenever practical, we like to have insets showing what things look like today in comparison to what they were years back. If we can have that first picture. This is a ride that didn't exist all that long. This is the Bubble Bounce. And this comes from a photograph album with pictures taken with a simple box camera between 1938 and 1942. Under this picture was written, the new ride at Carsonia. We know one thing, that when the park closed in 1950, that was not at the park, so it was really relatively short-lived. The gentleman you see in the upper left-hand corner is Levitt Luzerne Custer, 1888 to 1962, an MIT graduate who had a lifelong thing for amusement parks and their rides, and he was big into aviation. In his youth, he often visited the Wright brothers' bicycle shop.
Wow.
And was well acquainted with Orville Wright. Carsonia's little battery-powered speedway cars, which can be seen in Volume 3 of the Passing Scene, one of the older ones, was also created by Custer. Anyhow, you're looking at the bubble bounce. So we can take the next one. I thought this one was really cute with the two little girls in the front looking at the Thunderbolt. In its earlier form, that was the Jackrabbit, but you're looking at the rebuilt Thunderbolt, which was rebuilt. In the foreground, you see those planes. If you look very carefully, you actually see three airplanes. This ride, we think, might survive. It has been in storage for a long time. Anyhow, the circle swing, which was originally like the airplane ride, only it had wicker gondolas instead of airplanes. The ride was created in 1904, and it's thought that if this one still survives in storage up in Schuylkill County, it's the only one left in the world. By the way, originally Carsonia Park was 145 acres spread, most of it in Lower Alces Township, and about a third of it probably in Exeter Township. The next one, Joshua.
I'd like to think that if the wires got loose in the planes, they were able to fly off to safety, but probably not.
Wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, and that was before OSHA.
Yeah. This was a postcard I thought was very interesting. It was uncovered by our good friend Tony Matassa from the Birdsboro area. That's the old Gibraltar General Store, Post Office, and Lodge Hall. The POS of A used to be up in the top floor, and in the back there on the left is the band hall. The band hall still survives. As a matter of fact, the POS of A met there until 1988. And then they joined the group over in St. Lawrence, which still meets in the old schoolhouse in St. Lawrence. By the way, the new book has a really great picture of the St. Lawrence schoolhouse when it still had those two tubes on the left-hand side of the building. When there was a fire drill, the kids in the second floor all ran for the tube and slid down like a sliding board inside a big tube. And there was one on the first floor, and the picture that I have in the book is really good. It shows those tubes. Baumstown School also had the fire escape tubes. It's a great picture. The next picture, then we can compare the two.
I wonder if they were a result of this, because they had a couple of nasty school fires. I wonder if that was a result of that. Not locally, but there was a couple of nationally known school fires where just about the entire population of the school passed away.
There was one in the parochial school about 1958 up in New England. I remember that one. Anyhow, that's that same building today. The Lodge Hall, as I said, moved out of there in 1988. In the back you have what they called the Band Hall. That Band Hall today is used, that's good, as a church. And what was the general store, the post office, is today. It was a post office there years ago. When it closed, Sylvester Arnold was the postmaster, and he had the post office in his home in the main street of Gibraltar. Today that's an apartment house. Go to the next picture. This one fascinates me. I found this. This is Birdsboro Steel Foundry and Machine Shop on Furnace Street. This came from, was paging through some old magazines and found this in a 1951 issue of Engineering and Mining Journal. What you're looking at is the biggest Birdsboro Buchanan jaw crusher made. The biggest one in the United States. Look at the size of that thing. Do you see the man standing?
Oh, yeah.
On the right-hand side.
What did it crush?
Jaws.
Iron ore. It was used mainly for mining operations.
Okay.
Good grief.
Yeah. I guess you'd hate one to fall into one of those things. But now this is what I found fascinating. I did some research, and would you believe that that they're still making those things up in Canada by the PR Engineering Limited of Ontario, and you know what the machine is called today that they make? Same, they have three models, that's the biggest one. Why, it's called the Birdsboro Buchanan Jaw Crusher.
Huh.
Still it's called that.
Yeah, they have not changed the name.
Well, there's a lot of mining in Canada, so yeah, that would make sense.
Anyhow, they made 3 different models, but that was the big one. Again, the fellow standing by the side gives you an idea of the size of that thing, and you would certainly hate to fall into it. It does describe that that would take a load 66 inches by 84.
It's like 5.5 by 7 feet.
Yep.
Wow.
That's a big hopper to drop the stuff. The next one. This, I think, is a neat picture. Tony Matassa made this one available also.
Birdsboro?
Birdsboro. If you know where, let me see, the Italianized place in Birdsboro.
Rita's.
Rita's is on the left-hand side, where that stone building is. To the immediate left of those 2 guys in the bicycle would be Rita's today. The old mill, straight down in the background, behind the bicycle riders. I remember when they tore that down, I made the terrible mistake of wanting to get an 8 by 10 picture of that thing with my view camera, which I set up in the middle of the street on a Friday afternoon at banking time, and people came to cash their checks. It was in 1976. But anyhow, I got some great photographs of the old mill before they tore it down. Everything in that town was owned by Edward and his brother George Brooke. In the background, the only building that I know that I'm seeing that still survives is that large building sort of directly behind the fellow on the right-hand side on his bicycle.
Right here?
And that is today used for the bank building. That was originally, there was a general store there, and they had meetings on the top floor, because everything in town was owned by the Brookes. That is a wonderful picture.
What street are they on right there?
That's
Where you make
That's
the turn?
Main Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Furnace would be off on the right. So that's the main street heading towards Douglasville.
Or Hopewell, if you...
Yeah, well, no, well, not Hopewell. You have to go down and then you would turn right.
Right.
Yeah, people think that the main street is really Furnace and vice versa. Furnace goes off to the right-hand side along the mill, but if you head straight up that street, it takes you, you're heading towards Douglasville and Monocacy and those places.
Okay.
Yeah, so the only thing left in that picture is that large brownstone building that was put up by the Brookes years ago.
And you certainly can't get a Coca-Cola for a nickel anymore.
Not many. Next one.
Pleasantville?
Oh, that's an interesting story about that one. That's Coutts Mill Bridge, one of the 5 remaining covered bridges in Berks County. That was the last one built, and it was one of the well, I guess it was the shortest one built, and it developed some problems structurally. Now, they wanted to save it because of the Kutztown Folk Festival and all that sort of thing, so what they did at Pleasantville, they lifted off the sides, put in steel beams, I-beams underneath, and put the bridge back up, so that most people who come from out of the area go through the covered bridge and are absolutely delighted that it survives. But it survives with certain compromises. That picture was taken around 1950 because of the automobile on the right-hand side, and down below you see Coutts Mill, which has been closed for many, many years. The oldest maps that I can find show Coutts Mill. That was around for a long, long time. Interesting thing. That was also called, alternately, the Saconey Bridge. S-A-C-O-N-Y, which is close to Saconey Road, S-A-U-C-O-N-Y. And then I realized that there are alternate spellings of that particular street. So the bridge itself is called the S-A-C-O-N-Y, and the road nearby is Saconey Road. So take your pick.
Saucony, is that a correct way?
Yeah, it's one of those things like Raja and Raya. You can sort of hassle on that. The next view, please.
Let's just call the whole thing off.
These are neat. What you're seeing there that's the Yellow House Toll Road. There was a toll road that was laid out from the Yellow House Hotel down into Douglasville. It actually lasted 30 years. It opened in 1868 and it closed in 1898. What you're seeing there in the lower right-hand corner, this is the idea of the insets so that you can compare then and now. That picture that you're seeing down below was probably taken about 1899 or 1900, right after the toll road closed. Up in the upper left-hand corner, you see the building as it now exists. You can see they added a portion out the back, and they changed things a little bit. When you see the actual photograph on the lower right-hand corner, you will be surprised at the superb quality of that picture. And directly above, on the right-hand side, is the toll house there were two toll houses on that road, and the one that you see above was taken away, maybe 3-4 years ago, dismantled and put into storage, I guess, for eventual reconstruction. So in other words, that did have two toll houses. One survives, and the other one is in storage at Toll Gate Road and 662. I guess it is. Is that 662 or 663? I always forget.
I think it's 662.
662.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I know it is the Yale House Road. But anyhow, the next one, I'm going to take a little break.
I can never remember which one's 562 and which one's 662.
I can remember the 562. This is a very interesting building. This is the Fairview Mansion. It was put up as sort of like an academy. It was the Fairview Academy building. It was only used for a short time, and then they bought some land off to the left, which would today be part of Kutztown University. But actually, the college started there in that Fairview Academy building, which became Fairview Mansion, and one of Kutztown's most famous men, and there's a story in there about Colonel Pfister that is extremely interesting. He died in 1915 at a very advanced age, and his history is fascinating. You can see the captions underneath, and there's another page to the left of that that talks about Colonel Pfister, who fought in the Confederate Army. And he was from Kutztown. There's quite a story there about how he married a Southern woman and sort of got entangled. But then he came back to Kutztown and did himself just fine. One more picture, then we'll take a break. Many people, I'm sure, will remember Shamrock. Shamrock is a hamlet not all that far from Bairdstown, Long Swamp. It was a United States Post Office. Lucy Fenstermacher was the postmistress there at the time that it closed. Shamrock existed from 1884 to 1972. By the way, the modern railroad goes right through the town. There used to be an old depot there that isn't there anymore. Lucy passed away in 1987. But that was an interesting story. People would send her mail along with a certain amount of money from all over the country so that she would mail out their letters with a Shamrock cancellation on it for St. Patty's Day.
Oh, neat. That was thoughtful.
And there were a lot of people who were very sorry when Shamrock closed because there was something really neat about getting a postmark with Shamrock on it. But that was Shamrock Post Office in Berks County.
What was the origination of the name?
Well, it was in that same line where they gave all those fanciful names like Lyons and Topton. It was all part of that same line. Shamrock? I don't know. Maybe they had an Irish engineer. Yeah. Very probably. But that was Shamrock Village. Shamrock was an interesting place. They had I did a story years ago on that, and it appears in one of the Passing Scene books. I went and spoke with Lemon Whitmer, the proprietor of the hotel. And I didn't have the nerve to call him Lemon. I thought surely his mother never named him Lemon. And I sort of hemmed and hawed, and I said, Limon. He said, the name's Lemon. So anyhow, he is no longer with us, and the hotel is closed. The general store burned down. The depot is gone. The evangelical church isn't there anymore, but there are bits of the cemetery.
Well, they had a run of bad luck.
Yes, they had a very bad run of bad luck. Yeah, the Shamrock didn't help a whole lot.
Yeah, right. That was a 3-leaf Shamrock.
Okay. Following the closing, wait a minute, is that mine? Yes. Following the closing of our fabulous On the Home Front, we stood united exhibition that illustrates life as it existed in Reading and Berks County during World Wars I and II. At the close of the day on Saturday, January the 2nd, 2010, work will begin preparing an exciting new exhibit that will feature members' treasures. And it'll feature 1 or 2 items representing some aspect of Reading or Berks history that would be of major interest or general interest to the general public. The item or two should clearly have a direct Reading or Berks connection and be something that visitors to the exhibit probably have never seen before. Some items of my own that I've been considering for the exhibition are, and I've brought just a couple of things to show you. This is one. I was always rather pleased to have this. This was some of us will remember hearing about the Neversick Mountain Hotel that burned in 1905. Well, someone went up there the day after the fire and picked this out from the remains of the Neversick Mountain Hotel. There you see Neversick on the front, and it has the little lid, and that was picked out of the fire from the Neversick Mountain Hotel. And you got to the Neversick Mountain Hotel on the Neversick Mountain Railroad, or you climbed the inclined plane.
To be featured in Passing Scene 17.
Yes, to be absolutely, to be featured in Passing Scene 17. This little delight I hadn't seen for a long time. I dug it out to bring it along tonight, and I was somewhat surprised that it seems partly to have evaporated. What this is a bottle of Reininger's superior quality American port, bottled by the Reininger Wine Company, established in 1863. 20% alcohol by content. I interviewed Dan Reininger years ago. He was in advanced age. He lived on the along the Friedensburg Road, and when his dad came over during the Civil War period, he brought some grape cuttings with him, or some plants. They were planted on the east side of Mount Washington, or some of us might think of it as part of Mount Penn, facing Friedensburg Road, and this was some of the last wine that was made from the vineyard that was established in 1863. About 1938 or 39, a grape rot went through and destroyed virtually every vineyard in Berks County, so that all the vineyards in Berks County that existed had to be replanted with more resistant, I guess, plants. But this is some of the real stuff that I would be afraid to try at this point. Among some of the other things that I had been considering, and this is just to give you some ideas, a plate for the old post office that used to be at 5th and Washington, where the present-day branch post office is. There are a lot of these things around, and the point that I'm making is that a treasure need not be a painting, although it certainly could be. I had two that I was thinking about bringing along, and I thought, gee, it's easier to bring a dish than it is a painting. So I brought the dish along. There are some that I know people have, and souvenir spoons of the Neversick Mountain Railroad, of the pagoda, of the Neversick Mountain Hotel, and there are loads of Carsonia things around. I brought two badges along. This one was made for the opening of the Raja Theater. The Academy of Music building that started out on Penn Street, and then they built the new Academy of Music called the 6th Street Academy of Music. That went up in a disastrous fire, and it was rebuilt. The property was bought by the Shrine, and they rebuilt. You see the original Raja Theater on this side, the part that you used to go into. So what's there today is a rebuild of this building, but this was for the opening of that. I think it was somewhere around 1923.
What is Tyler?
I'm sorry.
What's the significance of Tyler? Do you have
he was one of the executives with the Shrine.
All right.
This says dedicated December the 2nd, 1932. This was one of the officials, and it was for the opening of the new courthouse in 1932. So a treasure need not necessarily be a $10,000 painting. It could be an interesting badge. And I know that there are some very interesting old badges around, very elaborate ones for some of the secret societies, like the Knights of the Golden Eagle, the Knights of Pythias. And you know, there was a time when even a place like Landis Store had three lodges that met in a frame building near what we think of as a Landis Store restaurant today. That building is still there. I have no idea what, at least it was there 10 years ago. But I imagine it's still there. Frame building right near the hotel, and that's where the lodges used to meet at one time. So, what do I have here? Well, some of the things, the idea of some of the things that I was considering. Some other things that I thought about. I have a very neat album that was given to me by a friend who's Raymond Keebach, who was very active in the Socialist Party. He had an album of high-quality postcards that his friend had taken when they were building Socialist Park, so that everybody you see in those albums, they were building the walls around the creek that runs through there. They built the old dance hall and meeting room, which some of us will remember as the skating rink. and there were bungalows there in the park. So it's a whole album of the building of Socialist Park, which earlier had been, there's an interesting connection that just crossed my mind, which earlier had been Keller's Park, and it became Socialist Park. What is it now? Like, what's it called today? Willow Glen? Is that
Willow Grove.
No.
Where's this?
Sticking Spring, the far end of the west end. Willow Grove, Willow Glen.
Where the road station is.
Yeah, well, close by.
Yeah.
But today the caterer owns that.
Oh, yes.
The caterer has it. Anyhow,
Name
that
escapes
crossed
me.
my mind. I have an interesting painting that was done many years ago of the old Stone Arch Bridge along 724 at the base of Valley Creek Road. That creek used to run through a very old time Stone Arch Bridge. I have a good painting of that when that was still there. So, and I have another interesting thing that nobody has ever seen, although I've shown like 2 or 3 pictures, but I have a very rare album of photographs, 5 by 7 inch, blue tone pictures of every lock house on the Union Canal in Berks County. Rare, rare, rare. That crossed my mind as something to bring along for the members' treasures. Since we're only allowed 1 or 2, I'm going to have to make a decision. But Boots Fair and I, and maybe somebody else, there'll be some other people there, I'm sure, we'll be meeting 3 times to sort of decide what it is that we would like to include. And Simon, I believe you have something to say about people.
Well, we've already been asked the question, that people say, well, if I want to be a part of this exhibit, and I have something that I think would be, good for the exhibit, but I'm not a Historical Society of Berks County member, what can I do? And that answer is pretty easy. For as little as $40, you can be an individual member to the Historical Society of Berks County, and you get so much with that. Just off the top of my head, you get the 4 issues of the Historical Review of Berks County.
And is there any better Historical Society magazine in Pennsylvania?
I don't think in the country.
I don't think so either.
I don't think in the country.
The color is just stupendous.
No, and that's just not us bragging on our own organization. That's the truth. I mean, this is a high-quality museum, or high-quality journal that's been in continuous publication since 1935. Not only do you get that, you get unlimited access to the Henry Janssen Library as well as the Historical Museum at 940 Center Avenue. Now we have 2 galleries in which to see exhibits. You get the members update that tells you everything that's going on at the Historical Society, and that's 3 issues throughout the year. It tells you about special events, upcoming exhibits, first Saturday programs, youth education programs, that type of thing. And I've got one thing, if the camera can shoot right down on the floor, if you want to join during the holiday season, can you get that? Where is that? Come on now, bring that up here. Right there. If you join during the holiday season, for your membership, you get a holiday membership gift pack, and inside it is included a copy of the Historical Review as well as some other goodies that really enhance the package even more. So, this is a great organization to belong to, and it's also, it'll allow you the chance to bring us your treasure and to see whether it might be included in the exhibit. Now, we all understand that these, again, they are your treasures, so we want to assure you that anything that you bring us, should we decide to put it in the exhibit, it will be fully insured, it'll be in a safe and secure area, and you don't have to worry about anything. So we encourage all of you, okay, with this Members Treasures exhibit, to really join the Historical Society and show us what you've got, and let's see what we can show representing Berks County.
So you may be asking yourself, how can you get involved with us? Well, we've got some bring-in show or Discovery Day or bring on along and see what you got. We're set up 3 different days, 2 days in November and 1 day in December. Now, these are all Saturdays. Saturday, November 21st and the 28th, and December 19th. Now, that's the Saturday before Christmas in December. But from 9 to noon and 1 to 4 on those 3 dates, Sign, Boots, and some other people are going to be in there having a look and see what you might have. And we'll have you fill out an informational sheet of what you might have, and we'll be also taking some photographs. Now, of course, at that time, we won't be leaving objects or have you leave your objects there at the Historical Society. We'll arrange for that later in January after the war exhibit closes. But again, those 3 dates are November 21st, November 28th, and December 19th. Those are all Saturdays, and it's going to run from 9 to noon, 1 to 4. And we please ask you to bring your items in those days and times only, please. Thank you.
I want to talk about a few upcoming events that we have going on at the Historical Society. And the first one I want to say is in conjunction with the World War II exhibit, and that's our first Saturday program, which will take place this coming Saturday. Was that the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th? Is that right? This Saturday. What is this?
Yes.
Saturday?
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Saturday the 7th at, it'll begin at 10 p.m. It's our first Saturday
10
program.
a.m.
10 a.m. for November, and it's going to be the Red Cross past, present, and future. And in keeping with our current exhibit, World Wars I and II, we're going to show the growth of the American Red Cross and how it went from just being a small service organization to the mammoth it is today, where it takes care of many, many issues that servicemen face after their return from overseas, distant lands, and their service, say in Iraq today. And we're going to have the speaker for that is a gentleman by the name of Ron Durrell, who is the chairman of the Services for Armed Forces for Berks County. So this ought to be a very informative first Saturday program. Other things coming up I'd like to tell you about, although it's been about almost 2 months since we opened the Berks County Long Rifles and Gun Makers 1750 to 1900 exhibit. It really is doing a bang-up job. Joshua and Patrick Hornberger did spectacular work putting this together. We have a collection of long rifles in this exhibit that is second to none anywhere in the United States, and I think that's attested to the fact that the attendance at this exhibit has just been amazing. I mean, we've had Saturdays within the last 2 weeks that have been just like the opening days. As a matter of fact, last Saturday I went into the Palmer Gallery and met a couple who had come in, who had flown in from Boulder, Colorado on Friday night, okay, last Friday night, just to see this exhibit, and they were leaving on Sunday evening. So again, it's bringing them from far and wide, and we have a couple of things here in this issue of Men at Arms Gun Collectors Magazine. Okay, they did a wonderful write-up on the exhibit, a showcase on the exhibit, detailing what the exhibit looks like, and as you can see right in that, but you can't see, maybe if I hold it up. Okay, you got that. Okay, that's the ad, and then on this side, pan out a little bit, that is the new Palmer Gallery in which the exhibit is installed. So it really was very good, and it's been a wonderful exhibit. We've also produced a companion piece to the exhibit. Let's get the cameras right, fellas. on the long rifle exhibit. It's beautiful, 8.5 by 11 landscape book, hardbound with dust jacket, 175 four-color photographs on 100-pound heavy enameled stock, featuring all the rifles and pistols in
all Berks County.
All Berks County. Yeah, this talks about the 5 schools of gun making that took place here in Berks County, and Berks County was unique. Most of the other counties in southeastern Pennsylvania might have had 1 school of gun making. We had 5 that interpreted the building of these and had a completely different art and architecture. So it really has been a wonderful exhibit. I encourage all of you to come on over and see it. It's a once in a lifetime. Now, the final thing I'd like to talk about is an event that will be taking place on this Sunday, December 13th. And this is going to be the Hendel Holiday Boutique. This is the 4th annual Hendel Holiday Boutique that we've held, and it really is a good time. It's held in conjunction with the Center Park Historic District's holiday tour. And we have the Hendel House open, and it takes place on Sunday, December 13th, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Admission into the Hendel House is free, okay? If you want to take the entire tour and see the many other beautiful Victorian properties on the Center Park tour, that costs $12. But admission to the Hendel House is free, The Hendel House is going to be beautifully decorated for this event. And the great thing about this is not only do you get to see a marvelous vintage Victorian property that the Historical Society keeps open for the folks of Reading, but you're also going to be able to do some shopping and purchase some truly unique gift items for the holiday season. We have 10 to 12 vendors and artisans who will be at the Hendel House with
we have
their
some of
wares.
our views for last year here. Here's Pat Perfect.
Okay, there's Pat Perfect, a good friend of the Historical Society and trustee. There are going to be many vendors there. In this particular case, what you just saw was Clear Toy Candy, which is, boy, I mean, is Berks County through and through.
Very, very good.
Yeah, really good. You have
Your
holiday
dentist will
gift
love
items.
you. Your dentist will love
Yeah, yeah, he will. Or she will. But also other holiday gift items that will be available for purchase. Things, like I said, Clear Toy Candy, tree ornaments, pottery, hand-painted porcelain, and many other vendors and artisans will be there. So that, again, is going to be held on Sunday, December 13th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Hendel House at 746 Center Avenue. And you can purchase tickets for the Center Park Tour directly across the street from the Historical Society in Center Park. So it'd be a very easy place for you to purchase tickets and see some really great architecture.
It's a really neat event. It's actually more lively than the pictures tend to indicate. It's really a great day.
Yeah, we've had, at times, you could not actually, like you say, stir them with a stick. People have been packed in there, so, but it's good.
And we've already got our reservations for this coming year's Hendel Holiday Boutique come in, and we're just about all set for our vendors.
Oh, great. And
I think, let's see, what else do we have? Joshua, I believe that goes on to you.
Yes, I've got a couple things here. My upcoming article in the Review, the staff do a regular column for the Review magazine, but for some of you who are members, to give you sort of a taste of our wonderful magazine, I decided this time to focus on some things from the collection regarding the present courthouse, the county courthouse, and former county courthouses. And I brought some things around me. If you want to have a look at the image on the floor there, George will be able to help me with the history of the building here a bit. But you're about to see an architectural drawing of the second county courthouse, which is at the site of the current courthouse today, which was at...
which one? Oh, that one.
Yep.
That's actually the third courthouse. The first courthouse
Yes, the third one.
was a church in Washington. Second one was in the middle of Penn Square. This is the third one. It stood on the site of the present courthouse. It stood from about 1840 to 1931, and the new courthouse was dedicated December the 2nd, 1932. A really very, very handsome building, and we're fortunate to have that drawing.
Now, this drawing was done actually by the architect at the time, Thomas Eustace Walter, who's well known for a lot of
very
other
well
buildings.
known.
But it is signed by him in the lower corner. It was donated to the Historical Society back in 1920 by the daughter of County Treasurer William Arnold at the time the building was constructed.
We have a painting of William Arnold. We have
Yes, we
a
do.
portrait.
Yes, we do. We also have another, actually, while we're on this building, there's an object here on the table, which I told my fellow program associates was a very, very special item. There's a gavel here on the desk here, right by the laptop, and this is made from wood, salvaged from that building that you see in the architectural...
Did you say salvaged?
Salvaged,
Oh.
I'm sorry. Okay. The contractor, Dominic Moore, demolished the building and had these gavels made and presented them to many people. This particular one was presented to Ralph Hill.
Oh.
Familiar with that name, George?
Yeah, he was one of our trustees.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sally Hill's husband.
Sally Hill's husband.
Of course, of course. So this was donated to the Historical Society in 1961 from original wood furnishings from that courthouse, which you just saw.
Dominic Maurer had salvage rights to a whole lot, but he wound up with a statue.
Oh, is that who had the statue of the guy?
Early on, yeah.
Here's a little better view if you can. It's pretty plain, but it's still pretty neat considering its history.
It seems so light.
Yeah, it is incredibly light. It's okay.
Kim Richards will be...
That's all right.
Huh.
Nice.
And speaking of Kim Richards, she wasn't able to join us, but she is here in spirit with us. But if I can get to the folder real quick on the laptop, Would you believe that 51 weeks ago today was the opening of the Henry Janssen Library? If you can just give me a second here. We have a little quick slideshow with some wonderful before and after shots. It's hard to believe we're all set here.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to believe that the library opened November 11, 2008, which is exactly 51 weeks ago today. So we have some neat before and after shots here. This is the exterior of the building, seeing the tele windows, and as you can see now we've replaced them with some awnings and blocked in the other windows with the door. But it's just an amazing series of shots. When you consider how vacant that building was before, this is a rear view of the teller windows and looking at it today.
Or what they call adaptive reuse.
Certainly.
I mean, when you look at how what that building was transformed from and into, Richard Levengood, architect, really, and Associated Construction did an incredible job with that.
Yeah.
I mean, really good job with that. You know, one of the things we also talk about, when the Historical Society decided to do this, you know, we had concerns that, you know, when we opened this, prior to the opening of the Henry Janssen Library, the library was at our main facility at 940 Center Avenue. And naturally, when we moved, you know, we were concerned that, you know, will we get the attendance coming in 940 Center Avenue? Because so many people come to the Historical Society, in addition to seeing our exhibits, come to use the library for the archives and the special collections that we have. But some interesting things have happened, and and they're good, I'm happy to report. The attendance figures for the museum since the opening of the Henry Janssen Library are up attendance at the museum is up 25% in 2009 over the attendance we had in 2008 for the period of April through October. So I think that that's really, really positive. And in addition, that when you talk about the attendance that we've had at the library itself, the attendance in July, August, and September, and October 2009 versus 2008, attendance at the library has been up 37 to 56% more than when it was at 940 Center Avenue. So both facilities have really done quite well, you know, with their attendance, and they've, you know, actually we've seen an increase. Give you an idea, we're looking at where these people are coming from. Arizona, we had a total of 11 people, 7 members, 4 non-members from Arizona. We had Florida, 6 members, 9 non-members. Georgia, 5 people visit us from Georgia, 8 from Illinois. Let's see, what else? Oklahoma, 5 people visit us. Texas, 5. Utah, 8. And in California, we had 5 people coming all the way from California to visit. Now, I will say one thing. We haven't had anybody yet from America's Samoa, or haven't had anybody from the federal states of Micronesia. But when they come, we'll get our pictures taken with them. But anyway, good news and for the Janssen Library on its 1st anniversary. And happy anniversary to Kim Richards, too.
One of the most dramatic changes, if you can go back to the left for 1 second, is the addition of 3 skylights. They did a lot to brighten up the building, and on sunny days, we even have to close the shades on the skylights because it just gets too bright in there. But this is a view. I was over there being careful not to be hit by falling metal. This is the first skylight that was cut into the roof, and this is a beautiful before shot, and you can see that's the after shot. They did a tremendous job over there, and you can see the wonderful, and speaking of Mr. Janssen, this is Mr. Janssen himself here. We furnished the building with a number of historical artifacts from the collection, including Mr. Daniel Rose and the Daniel's clock. You can clearly see the lack of skylights here, and if you look in the next shot, there's the 3 skylights right there. So
that's a good presentation, Josh.
Thank you. Happy anniversary, Henry Janssen Library.
That's great.
George, do we have time for a couple of photographs here? I'll reconnoiter here for a second.
We can get 1 or 2 in, sure. We'll make it fast. Okay, that's a good one. Many people will recognize the Stout Tavern. At the time that this picture was taken, over 100 years ago. It was called the Center House. That's a really sharp picture and a really great picture. On the right-hand side, there's a sign on the porch that says the Strausstown Stagecoach stops here. And there's a good explanation there of that place. They voted in there for nearly a century. And of course, very few people don't know about the Stout Tavern, but for a while it was called the Center House Hotel.
Look at the beautiful eagle shield above the door.
Yeah, that picture is extraordinarily sharp too. Next picture. He's got a couple in there. These are very interesting, the now and then ones. The picture on the right-hand side shows the main street of Stroudsburg on the south side looking eastward, and then at the top you have what's there today. And that large building that you see on the right-hand side has been made into one single house, and it's a very fabulous place, a very impressive home today. The next picture. We're in Stroudsburg again. I found this very amusing. I had the old-time photograph, and there were two gentlemen sitting on the front porch, and I went up and asked them if they had any idea where this building was. They had no idea whatever, and then I informed them it was their house. And they were so surprised because it had been modified so greatly over the course of time. But it's always fun to get an old picture and go to the site to see what's there today, how it's been changed. It had two front doors at one time. Today it has one front door, and it has a porch. The next we'll end with, this is a really great one. There are some wonderful pictures in the book on Kempton, and this might interest you. You see this? They had a hand-operated turntable on the right-hand side.
Right here.
And this creamery. The fellow who was operating that creamery was processing, using that branch line railroad, 20,000 pounds of milk per week.
There's a milk car right here.
That's a milk car.
Yep.
You're absolutely right.
Pound. 20,000 pints.
That's pounds.
Well, yeah,
pints a pound the world around.
Yeah,
that's right.
Wow, 20. That's a
Put
lot.
me on that one. That's a really great shot. It was made available to us by the Dietrichs of Dietrich's Meat Market in Crumbsville, and we thank them for their interest. We'll end the program, let's see. Tell your friends about our program, which is on the first Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock. It repeats this Friday night at 10, Saturday at 6, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. I'm your host, George Miser, and I'm pleased to have seated with me here Joshua Blay and Sime Bertlett. We look forward to having you join us again on Wednesday, December the 2nd, 2009. Thanks for watching. So long.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
The Historical Society on BCTV is supported in part by the Highlands at Wyomissing.
Since home energy costs have risen, many homeowners have switched from traditional light bulbs to compact fluorescent light bulbs. CFLs are more costly, but they last 10 times longer than incandescent bulbs. Always be sure to choose the proper bulb type for the intended purpose. CFLs contain a very small amount of mercury in the glass tubing. Don't worry, the mercury is not released during use as long as the bulbs stay intact. Carefully remove CFLs by gently turning at the base of the bulb. Dispose of the bulbs in a box labeled CFL bulbs for disposal. Keep this box out of reach of children. Transport the box and the trunk of your car to a proper disposal site, especially for fluorescent bulbs. Visit us on the web or call 610-478-6362 for sites and schedules. This message is from Penn State Cooperative Extension in Berks County, located at 1238 County Welfare Road, Suite 110, Leesport, Pennsylvania, 19533.